New York City. This is Charlie Rose.
James Lipton is here. He is a creator, executive producer, and host of the Bravo Network show called Inside the Actors Studio. Here's a look.
Who were the Kissy Girls?
Oh, my God. So I reached for the water. Oh, God. I was very sexual in kindergarten.
And with a simplicity that I commend to you all, every actor in this group, he says to them the first lines at the AA meeting. You remember?
Yeah, my name is, and I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah. It is as simple as that.
Which I am, incidentally.
Who?
Me.
You're talking as Clay now or as Jack Lemmon?
No, as Jack Lemmon. I'm an alcoholic.
Your father was a computer scientist. Your mother was a musician. When the spaceship lands, how do they communicate?
That's a very good question. I like that. You've answered the question.
They make music on their computers, and they are able to speak to each other.
You see, I'd love to say, you know, I intended that, and I realized that was my mother and father, but not until this moment.
Bill wrote a check. Then I called Oprah Winfrey. She wrote a check. Then I called Magic. He wrote a check. Then I called Michael Jordan. Told him how much Magic gave.
What turned you on?
Words. It is our most precious natural resource.
What turned you off?
Humiliation, especially toward a helpless child.
What sound or noise do you love?
Silence, the most underestimated quality of our lives.
I like that too.
This new book is called Inside Inside. I am pleased to have James Lipton back at this table. Welcome.
Thank you, Charlie. It's a great pleasure to be here.
You have done many things, creating Inside the Actors Studio, television producer, actor. This is another evolution, and critics love it.
Thank God.
You spent 14 hours a day.
7 days a week for 2 years.
For 2 years?
Yes, sir. Yeah, because for the first 10 years of the Actors Studio Drama School, of which I was the founding dean, I lived a double life, as you remember.
Yes.
As you know better than anybody. And I was dean of the school, and I was all those things on Inside the Actors Studio. And when I stepped down as dean, I decided that I would respond to the many requests that I had had to write another book, namely this one. And that's how this book was born.
So what was the challenge, and what made it difficult?
The challenge was to step out of the shadows. Again, I don't have to tell you, when you're sitting there and there's a guest sitting here, the focus is on the guest. I did that for all those years and still do it. I decided that I would tell the inside story, hence Inside Inside, of Inside the Actors Studio, that I would reveal all of its secrets, that I would tell its history and the school's history, and that I would talk about in the book the great moments for me with these great guests of the show. But they also wanted a memoir. That was the curveball.
Yeah. Well, you almost say with a certain apology at the beginning, this is not about me.
Exactly. I quote the beginning of David Copperfield when he says, whether I shall be the hero of these pages or it will be other people, these pages will show. And I admit on the first page that it is not my intention to be the hero of this piece, but that it's about the heroes of my life. And that is what I embarked on. It's not written in a linear way. It's written in concentric circles. I double back. And at a certain point in the book, I begin to tell my own story that brought me to Inside the Actors Studio. And that is where the surprises began. W.H. Auden quoted a child who said, "How do I know what I think till I see what I say?" And André Gide at the end of The Counterfeiters there was a character in the great book, Uncle Edouard, who kept a diary, and you never knew what was in it, although it was key to the book. But then it says the end, you turn the page, whoa, there's Uncle Edouard's diary. It was Gide's diary as he was writing the book. And in that diary, he said, I know I'm writing well when the character sees the book from me, and suddenly I'm surprised at what comes up on the paper in front of me. I'm angered, I'm touched, I'm amused. I become more reader than writer. And that, in a way, is what happened to me, especially in the parts when I was writing about my own life. There are, I think, a lot of surprises in the book. No one who reads it will be as surprised by it as I was when I wrote it.
Really? How is that?
Because I didn't know how I felt about these things. I knew these things had happened to me.
The odd quote.
When I'm in that chair and someone's in this chair, my goal is to find those moments, those events, those people in their lives that shaped them as people and as artists. That's all we're doing up there on my show. And when I put myself in that chair, I said to myself, you're going to have to reply with the same candor that you have expected from your guests. And that was the hard part.
What was the hardest part to acknowledge?
Two things. My relationship with my father and a fact that I realized a third of the way through the book, after my father, the beatnik poet, vanished.
Right.
When I was 6, my mother and I were alone. Life was a struggle. And I turned off on family. There were just the two of us. I didn't think that families mattered. A third of the way through the book, I realized with a start that this journey that I write about in here has been a search for family. A lot of different kinds of family, extended family. And that was the biggest surprise in the book for me.
The understanding that that's what your life has been about.
That has been my pursuit. On the show, the major theme that has emerged over the last 13 years, without question, is the divided family. 75% of my guests, and I dare say 75% of the guests you've had from my profession, are the result of broken families, death, divorce, separation. And I developed over the course of these years a theory that's unprovable, like most of my theories, that it is the spark that has engendered many of these careers that sat opposite me in that chair. An effort to say to somebody who's long gone, look, 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 I did something, here I am, hear me, see me? And I think...
Make my daddy proud.
Make whoever's missing, mother, the father, and somehow to fill that void. I didn't know until I wrote this book that there was a void. I thought I was fine. Everything was fine the way it was. I didn't think I had to look back at these events, but once I looked back at them and began recounting them, as my guests have recounted their lives on my show, I discovered I had feelings I didn't know I had, that I thought things I didn't know I thought, that I felt things I didn't know I felt, and that's what this book is full of, for better or worse.
Is it an emptiness? Is it anger? Is it what?
No, not an anger, no.
Because your father left, and
Right.
left you with your mother.
Right.
He was multi-time married, 5 times?
My father was married many times. I was the only child he ever had.
Yeah, then he left.
Yeah, well, he left. He was married after he left us,
Right.
the multiple marriages. But he vanished, and we were thrust into a very difficult situation. My mother was a school teacher. These were hard times. My father was a poet, so we hadn't had